Now,
Thor is worthy. Sup, guys? There we go. We're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Geek Boutique podcast. That's right, the only place where you're going to hear these weirdos chatting for an hour about, whatever.
it's true.
Today, we've got actually a lot to talk about, and we've got a special guest today, Mr. Myers, Corp, Michael Myers. How you doing, Mike?
Doing great, guys. Doing great. Glad to be here.
Thanks for joining us. So we're going to be talking to Mike for a little bit. We're going to find out a little bit more about him, but we do have a long list of topics that we want to get through. So, guys, stick with us. Once again, if you're just joining us live on Instagram, go to YouTube. That's the place to watch us. There's already people actually joining us on YouTube, so people are slowly making their way over. Also here, as always, Mr. Messiah Complex Cosplay, my man.
My main mustache man. What's going on?
The mustache is coming in pretty good there.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep it after November. Like after November. I think I'm gonna keep it for a while. Since there's no cons, I don't have to have like specific facial hair for anything. So
you mean you're not going to regrow your beard? You're just going to keep the mustache?
No, I think I'm gonna keep a little bit of scruff, but I think I'm gonna just let this so I got a big old fuzzy caterpillar on my face for.
You're gonna let it Tom Selleck out
until at least we get to like March-ish. Like I'll shave it off to March, whatever. But yes, I think I've got to. It's got more growing to do. I can feel it. It's got more to
Noah on Instagram, who I'm assuming is talking about my going to YouTube comment, is saying HD stash, can't argue.
Fandom Frontier saying slay it, brother. Absolutely. 100%.
Snowhawk says two screen going, YouTube and IG. And I feel like a lot of people are doing that right now. They're on YouTube, but they're following the conversation on Instagram.
Screen that shit. Absolutely.
Guys, you can also chat on YouTube, right? I mean, you can do live chat while you're watching us on YouTube. I know it's a little tougher to live chat on YouTube while watching it on your phone, but if you have a device that you can cast us to, that's what producer Jen usually does, is she casts us to the TV and she follows the chat. Fortunately, producer Jen's not with us tonight, and man, that what that means. This show is going to be all over the fucking place. But hey, that's why you guys are here, right? So how about we get started? Mr. Michael, thank you for coming on the show. I've only met you last year for the first time.
Last year, Fan Expo.
Last year or
this year? I think it was.
No, I think it was Fan Expo last year.
Fan Expo
that I met you for the first time.
Limited edition?
Could be.
The limited edition.
Could have been.
Either way, thanks for coming on. How about you let everybody know that's watching that maybe do not know you for some weird reason. If they're maybe if they're not in the GTA, they won't know who you are. But tell the people who you are, what you do, what gets you going.
That's true. So my name is Michael Myers. Yes, that is my birth name.
Hilarious, by the way.
Did not change that on purpose. That
so appropriate.
So good.
Hence the cap. I figured if I got the name, I might as well wear it.
Lean into it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So I'm a cosplayer. I've been to Fan Expo for many, many years, over a decade now straight. I volunteer at Niagara Falls Comic Con. I volunteer at Hamilton Comic Con. I volunteer at Anime North. I have been to tons of cons, and I'm a cosplayer. I've won a couple awards at Fan Expo and Anime North, and I'm just here to make some more friends in the cosplay world and the con world.
So I want to go down that route a little bit, and I feel like it's always the first question we kind of ask is how did you, first of all, get into cosplay?
So I've, as probably everybody's answered, Halloween, as always.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a little kid, my mom was never happy with the store-bought costumes. So she made a bunch of my costumes growing up. I remember being a little kid, being a spider, and she wasn't just happy with it being a spider. I had all four legs on either side attached. So when I moved one arm, they all moved. And I remember being Paul Stanley from Kiss, and she made the vest, the makeup, the boots. I walked in heels for the first time as a kid, being Paul Stanley. So I've always had that in me, and anytime anybody had a costume party, I was trying to make my own costumes. And then it wasn't until I went to Fan Expo in 2009 for the first time where I saw, big daddies from BioShock walking around and big swords like Cloud from Final Fantasy. And I'm like, oh, this is a thing, and I'm not the only one who likes it. So at that point, I was going through college, though, so I wasn't able to go as hardcore into it as I wanted to. But once I graduated, I just went nuts and been going ever since. And I love competing. I love the reaction that I get from anybody that comes by and sees a costume. And yeah, it's become an obsession, I think.
So like many, the con brought you to cosplaying. Cosplaying didn't bring you to the con.
No. We were going to Fan Expo 2009 to meet Bruce Campbell. My brothers, Gavin and Tom, they found out about it and they said, "Do you want to go?" I said, "Sure." And we bought tickets for the whole weekend, and we walked into that main hall, and I say it every time I go to Fan Expo, I walk on that floor and I just go home. Because as most people who are in this culture don't realize, there's a ton of us that all gather in this one spot, and you don't realize that, oh, my neighbor is into this stuff, and this guy down the street's into this, and you guys are into this. And it's just, once I saw that, oh, there's these people that love the same things. Oh, and you all build the same things. Like, this is amazing. This is the best place in the world. So that got me hooked. And it's just ever since just, all right, what are we doing next year for a costume?
Because I remember too, same kind of experience when they finally brought cons to where I'm at in London, Ontario. We had 2 cons in the same year. We still have 2 cons. It's dumb. I don't know why, but we do. And yeah, I went to the first couple just in my civvies and saw people, dressing up. I'm like, oh, that looks really cool. But then when you first go to a con for the first time in cosplay, the change in your perception of the con it's night and day, because now you feel like you're part of what's happening as opposed to just an observer or just someone that's there to shop or just someone that's there to see celebs. Now you feel like you're not just in the environment, you're part of the environment at that point. You know what I mean? It's a greater level of connectivity, I find. So yeah, I had a very similar experience, not through the Halloween side, but definitely on the con side for sure.
Yeah, my brother and I, the 3 of us, my brother Tom, Gavin, and I went. First couple years, same thing, just street clothes. I wore a leather jacket and a Superman shirt and the circle glasses, and I was Superboy.
Yep.
I'm like, not really, but we're counting it.
No, hey man, anything's cosplay. Cosplay's for everyone. So,
exactly. Yep. And then my brother Gavin and I did Terrence and Phillip a couple years in, and it was red shirt with the T and the P, and then I did cardboard flat faces that were just a flat piece of cardboard. And I'm not kidding. We stood there for maybe 15 minutes just having people come in and out taking photos with us.
Yeah.
And we just kind of looked at each other like, they're cardboard.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And we had the wrong heads on.
Yeah, it still doesn't matter.
So I'm just like, okay, this people love this.
It's a niche. That was probably it. When you find something that everybody knows but nobody's doing.
Yeah.
Like this guy. Like, look at what's standing beside him in that picture. Everybody knows what that is. Nobody does it. So when people see it, they immediately have a connection with it, and because they're not seeing anybody else do it, it just draws them right in, right? Everybody knows who Terrence and Phillip are, especially in Canada. Yeah. Of course, everybody knows who Terrence and Phillip are, but no one's doing it.
No.
By the way, shout out, masturbating with a cheese grater saying, yes, gotta love Shockstock out there in London. Shout out to my boy Jake from London Comic Con that also runs Shockstock. Him and James. Yeah, Shockstock's a great event. I think it's in April or May here in London. Big horror convention here. So
I thought it was in October.
Shockstock? No. Yeah. London Comic Con's in October, not Shockstock.
London Comic Con is in October. London Comic Con's in June.
No,
dude, you
the week before Hamilton.
You came to London Comic Con.
I did. Wasn't that in June?
No, it was after Fan Expo. That's how they saw the booth.
Oh, that was after Fan Expo.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah.
Wow.
How you doing? Right. Maybe you should maybe to my sippy.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna. You know what? I'm just gonna sit back, shut up, and keep drinking here.
So Mike, then how did you go from? So you're just a geek on this channel, perfect. Going to cons, and then you're like, I'm gonna dress up. So how did you get into the volunteer side of it then? Because we've had Sam Sino on the channel before as well. He also volunteers at Niagara Falls Comic Con. Good friend of mine, known him a long time. He mentioned how he got into it. How did you get into the volunteer side?
So I always say I always use the analogy of a roller coaster. When you go to Fan Expo, that's the big roller coaster. And I was going for maybe 5 years straight. And I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. Oh, there's other cons. And I went to Niagara Falls and I'm like, oh, I can kind of do this in 6 hours. Like, this isn't, it's amazing con, nothing against it. But compared to Fan Expo, it's there's no comparison.
Mm-hmm.
So I went, well, how do I do this and actually not just go there for 6 hours and go, okay, I'm done. And I thought, well, maybe I should help out. So I ended up volunteering at Hamilton Comic-Con probably 5-6 years ago. And they put me with another gentleman. We were just working security at the main stage, which you think anybody's going to jump the main stage? Like, no.
Yeah.
But it ended early, and they said, well, do you want to do something else? And we said, sure. What do you got for us? And they said, well, Ric Flair is getting kind of busy. Do you want to work Ric Flair's line?
Woo!
And I'm a wrestling fan. And I went, yes, I will gladly work Ric Flair's line.
Of course you will. Absolutely.
And then after that, every other convention was like, well, what have you done before? And I'm like, well, I've worked lines before. And they went, oh, well, you can do it again, and you can do it again. And then I started making friends with a bunch of people that do that. A couple of them, including Master Grady Cheese Grater, is they're in that group, and we just became friends, and we just do Hamilton Comic-Con and Niagara Falls. They do Expo too, but that's a whole nother. I'd rather just be a fan of that than volunteer.
Well, and for the uninitiated too, the guys that run Niagara Falls also run Hamilton Comic-Con.
Yes.
So there's definitely some cross-motivation there. Snowhawk Cosplay's got a question on Instagram. He's like, what is a dream Comic-Con that is on your list to go, that you want to go to?
I mean,
So
San Diego's the big one. I'd love to do New York. I've heard great things about New York. I hear that's sort of the middle ground. I don't know how San Diego is now post-pandemic, but standing outside in the heat for 5 hours to get into a hall, I don't know about that, but I think I could do that. I think I could do New York.
What about us? I feel neglected.
Christine is part of the volunteer group for Anime North, a very different.
There you go.
Aha.
I have never been. Anime's not my bag, so yeah.
And it's not mine. That's the thing. It's not mine either. I'm not an anime fan, but my wife and her friends, they all work the audio video for the main hall. And they needed an extra body. And I've worked audio video in high school. So I said, sure, I'll go. And I went and was like, oh, I'm not a fan, but I get why this is a thing and why this is a convention. Because we might get into it later about the differences of the cons, but that is a different atmosphere than any of them.
Now, are you in the GTA?
I'm in Hamilton.
You're in Hamilton, so you're kind of at that good midpoint for all of them, type of thing. Yeah. Okay,
exactly.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Steve's joined us.
For kiddos. Yes, he had to finish up supper for kiddos. Supper for feeding the children is priority. Steve, we get it.
Yes.
It's good, brother. It's good.
Victoria's also joined us. Hello, Victoria.
Yep.
Victoria was with us on the weekend, taking pictures for the Movember shoot.
Excellent.
Although it was like, I don't know, it wasn't like cold, but it was maybe like -4, and it was a wind tunnel through the Christmas market.
Right.
So it was cold because of the wind, and she showed up dressed up as Anakin Skywalker, and it's like, so she was freezing her butt off, literally. So we took a couple pictures, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm out." So
it doesn't help that she's like this tall and yay big around. So yeah, she's definitely going to be cold.
Yes,
for sure.
I've also, to just go back to what we were saying, I've never been to Anime North. I hear it's also pretty big. You were talking about New York Comic Con. You said I think it's like the middle ground. From what I understand, New York Comic Con is now larger than San Diego.
Oh, great!
New York Comic Con
had take that back then.
200,000 people last year, where San Diego had less people than Fan Expo. So Fan Expo Toronto had 170, just short of 170,000. San Diego Comic-Con apparently got just short of 160,000 last year.
See, now are they losing it because of perception of how big it is? Like people are going, it's too big now for some people?
I think it's losing because a lot of the people are now going and they're not actually going to the con anymore. Because there's so much going on in and around San Diego Comic-Con. You don't have to go into the convention center to enjoy the con, right? You can go to San Diego and spend the whole week there and do different things every day and never have to step foot inside the convention, right? I think that's one of the big things.
That's funny that you mentioned that because that's sort of like, kind of like Anime North, where Anime North has a main building that's sort of the vendor area, and then they have another another hall, which is sort of the performance. They've got a big stage. That's where my friends and I usually work. But outside, like they've got cosplay shoots all over the place. There's a stage with a rave at night. Like,
Oh wow.
you could just go there and just hang out outside with everybody and not even go in the con.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there are con experiences out there that are very, very, very different than what we know from the stuff we see up here.
Yeah.
Dragon Con, I feel like, is another one where I don't think Michael's in the chat here, but Michael was at Dragon Con this year, and he's telling us how it's.
He's at a concert tonight, so he will not. He will not be joining us. Yeah,
I think he was saying it's like in 6 or 7 different venues.
Eight hotels.
Eight hotels.
Yeah.
Right. So you're hotel hopping.
Yeah.
Right throughout the con. Yeah. I mean, it's another crazy, you know.
But when you're jamming that many people into one venue, you either have to pick a giant, like there's only so many of the venues that can hold 200,000 people on Earth, right? Yeah. So yeah, it makes
200,000 people with wings and tails. And
yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Right? So,
yeah.
Do you want to start moving on to some of the itinerary items there, Mr. JS?
Yeah, I think we should, because we're already 50 minutes in and we're still just chatting here. Maybe I should just start with this because it was the big thing this week. A lot of people seem to want to switch from Twitter to Hive, which I don't really understand the concept behind wanting to switch from Twitter to Hive, because Hive is nothing like Twitter. Hive is like an Instagram knockoff, right? And Hive apparently is run by like 2 guys in their basement, and it's super slow and it's super clunky. And you know what? I created an account because everybody's creating an account, right? But then somebody said something this week, and I was like, what if Hive was an Elon troll?
Well, it's weird because you started out by saying you didn't know why people were switching from Twitter to Hive, and it's extraordinarily obvious why people are just leaving Twitter altogether because of Elon. So you get on some level that people are leaving Twitter specifically because of Elon.
For sure.
But what they're looking for is an alternative to that has a similar look and feel.
But it doesn't.
The 2 big ones are Hive and Mastodon. I have a Hive. I haven't even seen Mastodon.
Right.
Here's the thing. I don't use Twitter, so I couldn't tell you if it looks like Twitter
neither do
or
I.
not, because I don't know Twitter well enough to be able to be like, yeah, that's what it is. Hive is the flavor of the month. Body Heroes is saying online. Absolutely. Everybody's posting it. Everybody's doing it. It looks like there's already been some people on there quite a bit, and there's already all the same social media bullshit that you see on the other ones. People farming likes, people farming follows. Yeah. I'm going to follow you, so you follow me, but then I'm going to unfollow you, but you won't know because you don't get notified of unfollows. This kind of like nonsense going on. So it's all the same: chasing clout, chasing likes, chasing whatever reposts, whatever they've got now, like all that jazz. So if that's what you want to do, guys, yeah, man, get in there. If that's Hive is kind of like Instagram mixed with Facebook. Yeah, I keep seeing it like it's like 2 different social media things had a baby and it's Hive, but yeah. So far, I don't get it, but I don't get Instagram or Facebook either. So it's like, hi, I'm old. I don't. Yeah.
I was late to TikTok, so I went, all right, I'm just going to go on this now before I turn around and everybody's on it.
It's funny you say that. That's kind of the reason why we're on. Like, producer Jen turned around to me when this was all going down, and she's like, should we register a Geeks & Co. account just so that we can have the name and nobody takes it before we can? And it's like, oh, well, yeah, okay, maybe that's a good idea.
But that's one of the problems they're running into is they don't have an algorithm to stop other people from getting that name. So there can be multiples
of the same name.
Really?
Yeah, that's one of the things people are running into. So if you do @John, hundreds of them.
Really?
Yeah,
that seems odd. So how do you link to somebody's page?
You just got to search them. That's what I've seen. I was looking at it today. A couple days ago, we were talking about it at work, and because I do marketing and social media and stuff at work, and I brought it up, and I was like, I should look into this. And that's the first thing people are saying is like, it's good, but there's too many bugs and too many things that they haven't worked out yet. Probably because 2 guys in their basement didn't think that 1 million people were going to join overnight.
No,
A
clearly
million.
that's
It's more like 30 million or something like
yeah,
that.
clearly that's definitely what's happened for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
That's why
yeah.
it's slow and clunky, because it's like some old 46 DX100 in some guy's basement just chugging away on this thing, right? So
Yeah.
no. Clearly that's the problem, but I don't know, man. Like I have a Twitter account and I never use it, and I have a TikTok account, and I literally I don't even have the notifications on for that. I just grabbed it so that people that were making TikToks that I was in would have like something to tag me in or whatever. But yeah, I don't, and I'm not going to be the guy that's like, oh, social media, like all the bad things about social media. There's good and there's bad, and if it makes you happy, go nuts. And by the way, if it makes you happy to chase clout and likes and follows and all that stuff, yeah, I mean, I'm not stopping anybody from doing it. I'm not shaming you for doing it. It's just at almost 50 years old, I don't have the time, energy, or inclination to do any of that stuff. So I made the account. I've made 2 posts. That might be the only 2 posts I make. And that's all I got, man. So yeah, 30 million just joined. Yeah, crazy town.
I do think of the humor if there was a hidden camera of just 2 guys sitting in their basement watching and just like, someone joined our network. 10 more just joined. 10,000 just and just the sheer panic of running around.
Yeah, suddenly just smoke pouring out of the server in the corner there, like just throwing up in the middle.
Hire everybody you know.
Yeah. Get down to the local Goodwill and buy every piece of shit computer you can find, and we're gonna network them all into servers. About Hive, Ice Voices. Yes, Ali, we're talking about Hive.
Yes,
which is the soup du jour, if you will. So I'm sure next week it'll be something else. Because I don't know if you guys remember, were you around for the Vero craze that happened very briefly there? Everybody was supposed to be jumping over to Vero, and then nobody did.
Well, it was the same thing, right? Like I created an account, and then I never did anything with it because what was the point? Nobody was posting anything to it. So why? What was the incentive for me to go to it every day? Hive is going to have the same issue, right? Like if I'm following you and you're on Instagram, but you're also on Hive, you're mainly posting on Instagram, right? You're duplicating on Hive at the most, right? So what's the incentive for me to go follow you on Hive and not just follow you on Instagram, right? Again, for the people that are Twitter users that are looking for something else, sure. Right. I don't feel like this is it, right?
No, it's weird enough when people will have 2 or 3 accounts on Instagram and post the exact same thing on each of their accounts.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because, like, of course, I want to support them as much as I can. I want to follow all their accounts, but then it's literally like the exact. Because I've got separate accounts on Instagram, but I post different things on those different accounts because they have different focuses. Mm-hmm. Why would I post the exact same thing on 3 different Instagram accounts? Because then my friends are just scrolling my shit and eventually they're just going to mute or unfollow me anyway because they're like, I'm tired of seeing this guy's shit all the time. So, again, not shaming anybody, in social media, any way you want, but yeah.
Yeah, Facebook, I mean, listen, in 2 years we might be eating our words, and Hive might be the biggest thing ever.
Ed made a good point. He's like, "What happens if? Oh no.
Oh, you just went down on Instagram. Yeah, no, there you go.
How long before a major company buys Hive? Yeah. And Victoria saying like Facebook is licking its lips right now, looking at Hive.
Yeah.
Hive is adding music, so I'm getting MySpace vibes. Actually, Instagram now has music on regular posts now too. Like if you just have a picture post now, you can add music to it on Instagram.
Oh, can you really?
You can. Yeah.
I thought it was only in stories.
Nope, it's on your post now as well.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know.
Either or a reel or whatever the fuck. It could just be like a static image. Oh. Yeah. Not that anybody posts static image on Instagram anymore, but hey.
I mean, I do all the time.
Oh, reels? No, I know. Sorry. No, nobody that gets any plethora of attention to post a static image on Instagram anymore. It's all about them reels, and I just don't have time. I'm just so tired all the time. Anyways, I don't want
they do get a lot of attention.
Bummer. I don't want to turn this into a bummer.
Reels get a lot of attention.
They do.
And reels that people like spread like wildfire. It's kind of crazy to see. Like it's funny when you see it happen. When you post something and it's slowly propagating, and then all of a sudden a bunch of people like it, and then all of a sudden you go from having 100 views to 800 views.
Right.
And it's like, oh wait, fuck, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of neat to see.
Yeah.
If you're trying to,
they're definitely trying to take that TikTok algorithm.
For sure.
That interest algorithm that TikTok has, just it's the king, because you shouldn't care about how many followers you have. If this is an interesting piece of content that people like, send it to everybody. And Instagram's starting to do it. It's just they're a little slow to it, and that entire platform was built off photographers, and now you're not wanting to do static photos, so you're taking a chunk of it and saying we don't want you anymore. So,
and Instagram themselves are leaning into that too. So yeah, it makes it even more difficult, right?
Yeah.
Anywho,
100%.
Not the perils.
Anywho, so anyway,
yeah. Let's go from that cheerful topic.
So anyway, a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, there was a thief, murderer. I mean, all around scumbag called Cassian Andor. All around piece of shit called Cassian Andor. And somehow,
got his own fucking show.
They gave him his own show. Somehow they're making you not really want to like Mon Mothma after all the dirty, disgusting shit she has to go through, which I guess, when you think about it realistically, somebody that's starting a rebellion like that will have to go to depths that they didn't think they would have to. The flip side of it is, do I want to, is that the kind of person I wanted to idolize? Idolize? How do you say that? Idolize. So yeah, listen, guys, Andor is now over. I have a lot of mixed feelings about it, as you could tell.
So does Steve, apparently. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. Not gonna lie. Well, I'm in the same boat. There's stuff I don't enjoy, and there's stuff I really enjoy. So that's the problem when you've got so many different storylines happening kind of simultaneously. It's almost like not like a Game of Thrones, but you know what I mean. There's different character arcs and different plot threads, and some of them are some of the best things you'll see on television, and some of them make me want to gouge my eyes out with a rusty spoon. Like, it's just so yeah.
I'm kind of in the same boat you are.
Yeah. And I don't care what they're doing with Mon Mothma. She's still the best part of it. Her and Stellan Skarsgård are still the best part.
100%. 100%.
Hands down.
I don't know. Like, for me, the rebellion is supposed to be about hope, right? Not about murdering people and backdoor deals with, drug dealers, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do.
Yeah, I get it.
In a rock and a hard place, though, right?
For sure, and I totally get it.
Or the rebellion dies, so it's sacrifice. The show is supposed to be all about sacrifice, and they've at least done a good job of showing that everybody has to sacrifice something to get sort of where they're going. And poor Mike down there, I haven't watched a minute of the show, and we're just
no problem. I will give up my geek card for 5 minutes. Go for it, guys.
To be fair, Noah is saying this isn't the rebellion yet. You're right.
You're right.
It is the seeds of it, and that's how a rebellion like this would start. Is you would have people making hard choices, and sacrifices to get sort of where they need to go. Even Stellan Skarsgård saying, we need the Empire angry. We need them hammering on the populace so that they feel oppressed, so that they want to rebel. And to do that, we've got to poke the bear, as it were, to get them riled up. And people are going to suffer, and people are going to die to get to that stage before people will finally. No one's going to stand up angry if everything's good. Then there's no need for rebellion, right? So people have to be angry and upset, feeling oppressed, to want to rebel against whatever is there. Now, the flip side of that, of course, is that, like in every other piece of media, the Empire is portrayed as this mustache twirling wahaha villain with no redeeming qualities, and just so ridiculously over the top bad that you're forced to cheer for whoever's rebelling against it, no matter how you feel about the character that's in place to do that with. Because, like we've talked about, some of the characters that they have to do that with are fantastic. You see Forrest Whitaker as Saw Gerrera. It's just chewing scenery and doing such a great job.
He's so good. I love him. And the last episode, man. Was it the last episode? No, second to last episode. When Luthen goes and see him again, and it's like, oh man, they should have this show should have been a Saw Gerrera show.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about the end yet, so you're still okay. We're just talking in broad general strokes. We're not going to give away specific things about the last episode of Andor, but overall, Yeah, Whitaker is awesome. Yeah, there's no
yeah,
question.
he's amazing. He's amazing.
I thought he was a little too cartoony, I found in Rogue One, but here he seems to really be sinking into the role, and yeah, I'm really digging his. And yeah,
So I think though that's part of the character because he's going to get more and more cartoony as he grows. Because he starts just as a kid,
right.
joining the rebellion, right? And the older he gets, funny enough, even though he started as a cartoon, the older he gets, the more cartoony he gets. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Every day more lies. Yep.
I think you guys sold the ticket. I might have to watch this thing. This
Yeah,
Star Wars
listen,
thing might have a future.
it's not a bad show.
He's crazy Star Wars.
Yeah.
And everybody's
Make a couple
loving it.
bucks off it.
Like everybody online is talking about how this is the best thing to come out of Star Wars. I disagree, but
Hard. I disagree.
it's
Very,
not
very
bad.
hard. Yeah.
It's not bad. It's just not. Again, my main issue is Cassian. He's just not a likable fucking character. And like, how stupid and predictable was that last episode? You know, like,
Yeah, don't let's not, like I said, let's not drop.
yeah,
any
I don't want to
spoilers
get into
on
the
that.
details, but like, come on, man. Like, are you really that stupid? Like, I don't know. It's infuriating sometimes to me. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just too critical. I'm a grumpy old man. What can I say?
Well, but, those are both accurate. That's you were correct on both of those.
Yes. But yeah, overall, my thought is it was okay. It wasn't great.
Yeah, Steve said it best. Mando beats it for sure. Snowhawk saying Obi-Wan was my favorite Star Wars Disney Plus show. Yeah, so everyone can have their opinion. And hey, man, if you love everything about Andor, good on you, man. I'm glad you found something you love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Mando beats it for sure, and I think Obi-Wan beats it as well. Obi-Wan was a better show too.
Yeah, I would agree with both of those statements, but yeah, your mileage may vary.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
I think it's probably got the same argument that I have with people who complain about, say, Miss Marvel and She-Hulk and some of these shows, and they're like, "Oh, it's not the Marvel that I want." And I said, "Yeah, but think about it. If you go to a comic book store and you see all the Marvel issues, do you read every one?" And they go, "No." I said, "That's fine though. Read the ones you like and enjoy the ones you like. They're not all. You're not going to love everything.
Yeah,
It's buffet style,
Just
right?
enjoy what you like. Yeah.
Take what you like and you leave what you don't. It's fine. That's what I'm saying. I'm not shaming anybody. If you love it, man. I'm not shaming anybody for it. I'm glad it's bringing you joy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just not that person. So
Exactly.
someone's going to enjoy it. That's the point. That's what Steve was saying on Instagram. Yeah, absolutely. Of course.
Yeah.
Mando over Andor for life. I mean, right now, Mando over everything. I don't. Is there a better show on even on television right now? I don't know. Like, especially for us geeks, I don't know, man. Like, it's pretty top tier. Like, that Luke Skywalker reveal at the end of season 2, boy, I'm telling you, man, that's some crazy, or season 1, whatever that was. That's some crazy ass. Like,
listen, that one scene made
People
millions of
weeping.
grown men cry.
Weeping on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, they're posting videos of themselves weeping on it. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Anyways, sorry. Okay, that's it about Andor. I think we're good. We've said our piece without spoiling anything. The finale is out, guys, by the way, so it comes out on Wednesdays. And I will tell you guys, there is a post-credit scene. There has not been a post-credit scene for any of the others, but there is a mid-credit stinger or whatever after the initial credits for Andor. So stick around for that. A little bit of insight. It's not very long. It's like a minute long, but it gives you a little bit of insight as to, I'm assuming anyway, what's to come and how it obviously bleeds into Rogue One and then A New Hope. So
I won't spoil the mid-credit scene, but I'll just say Jeff was right. So listen.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Hold on. I'm getting sweaty. That's
Okay. Don't let it go to your head now. Don't let it go to your head.
Somebody
now.
get a recording of that? Can I need a little sign back? Yes. Woo. Woo. Anyway,
The last couple of weeks haven't been the best weeks in fandom. We've lost a couple of people. I feel like we haven't had a chance to talk, first of all, about Kevin Conroy, who passed away last week. I'm sure everybody that is watching already knows who Kevin Conroy is. For the people that are maybe watching us or listening to us after the fact, that are living under a rock or in a cave somewhere and don't know who Kevin Conroy is. Kevin Conroy, for many, many people, is the definitive Batman. So again, Kevin Conroy, voice actor, voiced Batman starting in 1980. Is it 86? when he first voiced Batman in Batman the animated series?
The animated series.
Yeah, that's 90s. 93?
Oh, you know what? It might have been the 90s. 92.
92.
So there you go. So he started voicing Batman in 1992. Voiced Batman through a number of different DC animated movie projects, including Under the Red Hood. He was also the voice of Batman in Batman Beyond, or I should say the voice of Bruce Wayne in Batman Beyond. God, he was Batman in the Arkham series of video games. That's my Batman. As far as I'm concerned, that's my definitive Batman is the Arkham Knight
Arkham
Batman.
Games. The Injustice games as well. He's also the voice.
He's also Batman in the Injustice games. He played Bruce Wayne on the CW's. You know how they have those crossovers every year?
And
and
that was actually Crisis on Infinite Earths, is what they
Crisis
called
on
that.
Infinite Earth. There you go.
But I mean, you know, it was their
Yeah. It's their version of Crisis, but yes. So he had apparently been sick for a while.
That's what I'd read.
Passed away. Yeah, in his home, from what I understand.
At 66.
66.
God, that's
I mean,
young.
it's not old at all by any means.
No.
Yeah. I mean, again, if you don't know who he is, go look him up. If you do know who he is and you haven't yet, go watch something of his. It's worth the watch. There's a couple nice compilations on YouTube right now.
I felt like he was really the first guy to really bring a marked voice, a marked change in voice, and really hammered out the three different personas, right? The lighthearted Bruce Wayne, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, then the Bruce that you just get at home with Alfred, and then Batman. But his changeover in his voice was so distinctive without getting crazy gravelly like Christian Bale did it. But it was like, hey everybody, I'm here with Bruce Wayne, and now I'm Batman. Like, he had this really cool where you could still kind of tell it was still him, but it was still so, when he was Batman, that persona, you could tell it would just come over him. He would get so, everything he said was important, no wasted words, everything was so commanding, you know what I mean? Like, he just did such a great job of differentiating the two personalities in a cartoon meant for kids in 1992. And this guy,
I think Under the Red Hood is where he really does the best job at that.
It's just crazy good.
Yeah.
No, he's the guy that I hear when I'm reading books. When I read anything Batman, that's the voice that pops in my head. And and like you said, with the way that he changes his voice, like Adam West, there's that famous scene where he's doing the double phones with jumping from Bruce to Batman, which is great, but doing it in an animated form, and it's even better. And even having, I can't remember the episode, but there was the one where the villain is the old child star, the little girl. I can't remember the villain. Anyways, she has a breakdown at the end, and she kind of realizes that she's done horrible things, and she's sort of repenting for what she did. And you can hear his voice as he's talking to her. The sympathy just slowly comes into his voice.
When they're on the swing set.
Yeah.
I know exactly the scene you're talking about.
And it almost breaks your heart because you can almost hear the Bruce come out a little bit. And just being able to turn, like, not just flip, to slide it in here and there is just, it's masterful. And
crazy. He's going to be the voice of Batman for generations of people, right? From 92 until just recently, he was still voicing Batman stuff. I remember too, they even gave him, I think, a line from The Dark Knight. They gave him one of the key lines from The Dark Knight to read it in his Batman voice, and just like goosebumps, blowing your mind. Like, he just it looks so and sounded so, yeah, dude. And remember, Mark Hamill's the Joker in that same. Like, you want to talk about two champions of voice acting over the course of decades. You've got arguably one of the best voice actors of all time in Mark Hamill, and then you have the Batman voice of all time. There's no one else even, like, there's no one else even close. Keaton did great, Bale did great, Affleck did, like, all these guys did great, but I mean, come on, like, there's nobody like Kevin Conroy. I don't think there ever will be. I don't think you're ever going to recapture that magic. I don't think you can. It was so definitive when it happened.
Yeah, I don't know that it's going to happen. Not with Batman, anyway.
No.
You know, I
And
mean, you may have that with other characters, but that
Yeah.
magic that Kevin Conroy, I will submit that Mark Hamill and Mark Hamill made the performance that Kevin Conroy. They played off of each other. If it wasn't for one,
they just leveled each other.
yeah,
100%.
you know, now not to take anything away from either of them. But there was a chemistry there. There was like a lightning in a bottle. There was a Ghostbusters effect, is what I call it now, right? Where it's just, you can't reproduce it. It just happened. Yeah, it's going to be very, very hard.
To go off of Jeff, like the Keaton, Affleck, and everything, they also had the physical presence that Conroy doesn't. Like if it's a badly animated show, he's still only got his voice to go off of. So if Affleck doesn't look good, well, you've got a voice and you've got the performance. Conroy is just a voice. And to be able to do it, like we said, in the animated series in 92, and then go a darker version in a Red Hood animated series, and then go into a video game where, you know, you're reading a script that's like this tall of everything that could possibly happen, and do it perfectly, and then even do, like we said, do the physical presence in the Crisis on Infinite Earth, and able to look at him visually after all this time and go, oh yeah, he's Bruce Wayne, without even thinking about it.
Yeah, automatically. And that's weird too. And because he was such a by the way, when he passed, if you guys opened up your Instagram feeds, picture after picture after picture,
you can see
after picture after picture. Even Stan Lee, I don't remember seeing people that post that many pictures with that person. Because Conroy did two things. He went to all the cons and he charged a reasonable price to get a picture with him.
Yeah.
Didn't gouge the people, but he went to so many cons. And I know he was trying to hit as many, because he knew he was sick, and I knew he was trying to hit as many cons as he could before he couldn't go to them anymore. So many people got to meet him. He touched so many people's lives. He's got to be one of the most, you're talking about no physical, absolutely. He had no physical part to play, but you still knew who that was. Like, he was such a presence in the community because everyone loved his portrayal so much that everybody knew his face. Everybody knew exactly who that guy was when you saw him. You're like, holy shit, that's Kevin Conroy.
Yeah, that's a very good point, that everybody knows who Kevin Conroy is. Absolutely. Even though you don't see his face. He's a voice actor, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
And I even remember when that Crisis on Infinite Earth things was happening, because I had checked out of the Arrowverse by then. I was big into it for a while, but there was so much going on, and I'd gotten backlogged on so many of the shows, so I just stopped. But when I heard he was going to be in Crisis playing Bruce Wayne, I'm like, well, fuck. I have to go watch that. Like, that's crazy. And they did, and I won't spoil anything. They hit you with a swerve. It's an interesting take, but he does get to be Bruce Wayne live on camera for at least one thing. So good on him. Yep. That's how they should be. Getting to know your fans is a big part of having them in the first place, says Groot in London. And not everybody feels that way. And, you know, and again, to each their own, not to shame any celebrities that don't like some of them, you know, they have a multitude of reasons why they won't do that. But you can tell Conroy was really in touch with his fans and really like coming out and hanging out with them and appreciated how much they appreciated him and his portrayal. And Warner's must love him because they just kept on bringing him back over and over again, year after year, decade after decade.
Yeah.
Crazy. And I'm sure if he hadn't passed, he'd still be doing it to this day.
Well, didn't he do something recently?
Probably. I would assume so. He just
I feel like there was something recently he was in as Batman.
Yeah, I don't know.
I forget what now.
I don't know. Yeah, I was so happy to meet him at Expo 2019. It was his last time at Fan Expo Canada, and it's like you said, he's been to so many cons that I just kind of went, I'll get him later. And then I was like, no, I should probably get it. So I have the collection of the animated series, the big box set, and I brought the book, and I played it. The front of it's got a nice picture, and the back's just black. So I went, well, I'll just get him to sign the back. And I thought, well, I'll get others to sign it too, because Tara Strong's at cons all the time, and etc. She does back row.
She was there that year too.
She was. So I went, well, I'll get Conroy to do part of it, and I'll get them all sign it. And I walked up and said, you know, you're my Batman, and etc. And he goes, oh, thank you. And he just takes up the whole page.
The whole back of the box with.
Yeah. And I just went, All right,
course.
it's Kevin Conroy.
He's
Whatever.
Batman. What are you gonna do? You gonna argue with
And he
Batman?
wrote, "I'm Batman" on it.
Hell
so-
yeah!
All right, it's
Yeah.
the back of the book.
Damn right.
And
Yeah, we're never going to see anybody like Kevin Conroy again. I don't think anybody they'll have that big of an impact on a character like that. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, somebody else that had a huge impact on a character like that passed away this week. Jason David Frank. Again, for those that don't know, Jason David Frank, I want to say he was the Power Ranger. Jason was the longest running Power Ranger of them all. Actually, for anybody that knows the Power Rangers, and you guys can maybe correct me if I'm wrong, because like we were saying earlier, Power Rangers were a little bit after our time. But every time they had a new version of the Power Rangers show, they had a new cast, except for Tommy. Tommy would come back every time as a different Power Ranger, right? So Tommy showed up for the first time as the Green Ranger, which actually was a bad guy, turned good guy, turned White Ranger, turned Red Ranger, turned Red Turbo Ranger, holy cow, he played so many different Rangers as Tommy Oliver. Tommy, what was his last name? I forget what his last name is now.
I know it's the other one.
He played a bunch of characters. Again, somebody that was an icon to a generation, if not for two generations. Like my buddy Rob, he was a huge Power Rangers fan, and so were his kids. So they were very much into all of it, and they knew him very well. Tommy was another guy that loved going to cons. For me, what kind of makes it even sadder is, every time I would see something about him come up, whether it be a reel or whether it be images or whatnot, it was always this motivational thing that he had to say, right? He always seemed to be this happy-go-lucky guy and always trying to prop people up. For somebody to go like that, taking their own life, to me, that's even harder to swallow. I'm trying to get to the comments here while I'm trying to, stay appropriate here. But, Mike.
Yeah, that was my boyhood hero. That was my boyhood hero. I grew up watching Power Rangers, and that was my thing. It was Ninja Turtles, and then once I saw Power Rangers, it was just full force. I've always been a fan of his. I've got the two morphers up there. I've got the Green Ranger dagger and Saba in the drawer. I got to put those up. I don't know how many people can see this on live, but that is a print that I worked his line at Hamilton Comic-Con, and a fan gave that to him, and he was almost in tears. He was so happy to receive that, and those tears kind of went away though as he was leaving, because he realized he couldn't take it with him. He was heartbroken because he knew how much time went into it, and he didn't want to get rid of it. So he said, he saw me and he knew I was a fan, and he said, "Do you mind taking this? I'll sign it for you. Just hold on to it until I come back." And I said, "Sure, no problem." And he said, "Don't post it on social media. Don't show anybody, because I don't want that fan to see that and think that I don't care." And I was like, "Yeah, 100%. So that is the first time in probably 5 years that anybody besides my friends has seen that. And that's because, unfortunately, he's no longer here. And
Of course.
yeah, it's like you said, it's rough because of how optimistic he was, and to know that that's the way it ended was probably worse of a blow than him as an individual. So, for anyone, I think there's probably several people I know, including myself, who have had struggles in the past. Talk to somebody, man. Talk to somebody, call somebody, talk, please, because, man, that hurt a lot of people in my generation and other generations, younger generations. Like you said, he's still a part of.
Mm-hmm.
Up until just recently, he's been in almost every other season as a cameo. So,
yeah, that's what Loki Quinn was saying. You talk about people posting pictures with Kevin Conroy. I saw so many with Jason David Frank.
Mm-hmm.
William is saying he was the Green Ranger, the White Ranger, Red Zoo Ranger, Flanked Dino Thunder Ranger, came back as Lord Dracon. Now his last and final show, The Legend of the White Dragon. He fought alone while fighting for everyone else, Groot London says, such as sad things. Those people are often needing help the most, but feel they aren't worth it, so they try to help everyone else, says Ken Remington. Can't wait for Legend of the White Dragon. William is saying, I met him at Hamilton Comic-Con, gave him a custom-made airbrushed Green Ranger hat a friend made for me to give to him. He was my hero of the Power Rangers. Beyond sad, says Canadian Comic Cutie. Yeah, just to reiterate what Mike was saying, there is a suicide helpline. So if you're getting to that point and you don't feel comfortable reaching out to a friend or reaching out to a family, you don't want to burden people with your problems, which, by the way, you're not a burden. That's what your friends and family are there for. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you're not alone. Call the suicide helpline. That's what they're trained to do. They're there to help you through that. So
there's a lot of resources available for everybody out there.
You don't have to face it alone, guys.
No, and I think that's
the point where you're taking your own life.
Yeah, I think that's the key message everybody needs to hear is you're never alone.
No.
Even when you think you are, when everything inside of you tells you that there's nobody out there that understands or that can help you or whatnot, just talk to someone. You know?
49 years old.
I'll put it out there. Anybody watching the show that wants to talk, Myers Corp on Instagram. Talk to me.
Yep.
Message me.
Yeah.
I'm always available. Like, I'll talk. Even if I don't know you, let's talk. Let's get to know each other.
Such a great guy. Met him a bunch of times. His cutie. Yeah, he had 49 years old, had 4 kids. So that's and still took his own life. So the help is out there. Let's make sure that if we're getting to that point that we're seeing that helps. Cutie saying her DMs are open as well. Absolutely. Yeah, talk to somebody, man. You've got friends. That's what we're here for. And sometimes, by the way, let me just throw it out there to you too, because I've been on the receiving end of not a lot of those conversations, but enough of those conversations. There are times where, and guys can sometimes be bad for this. Not everyone's looking for a fix.
No.
If someone's reaching out to you to talk to you about what's going on with them and how they're hurting or what's going on, they're not looking, a lot of the times they're not looking for you to fix it. And guys have a tendency, guys are fixers. That's what we want to do. We fix things. We fix things around the house. We fix things at work. We fix infrastructure. We fix things. So when a problem comes at us, we want to fix it. But a lot of cases, these people feel like they don't have anybody to talk about their problems, to vent what's going on. You want, in this case, in a lot of cases, you want to be a sympathetic ear. That's how you're going to help these people the most, that you understand and you empathize, not like, oh, well, you should start working out, or you should get more sunlight, or you should do this. That's not what we're doing. If they ask you, how can I feel better? How can I get to a point? By all means, pass us some suggestions, do what you want to do. But if someone's talking to you, like Mike just said, someone's talking to you and they're having a hard time, listen, be there for them. Don't just try to offer solutions and fix the problem, because it's not a problem. They're struggling. They just need help through it. So, and that's, I don't want to get buried. I don't want to turn this into a major bummer, but yeah,
no,
I've had the conversation enough times. And I remember being a younger guy and trying to fix things like, oh, you should do this, you do that. And then I realized afterwards, I'm like, oh, that was not the way to go about that. So yeah.
Well, thanks for taking this show down 3 notches, Jeff.
As
I
said,
appreciate
you brought it up. I didn't bring this up. You brought this. You're crying. They're crying. Everybody's crying.
I apologize to every fan of this show that I got invited on this show, and every childhood hero passed away.
I thought you would hit us with JDF first, and then we would move to Conroy, but no, you JDF the last, and here we are. Everybody's
we did keep JDF for last, because really the one thing we wanted to talk about that we haven't, the passing of another actor, maybe not as big of an icon to a generation, but Wakanda Forever. We have to talk about it. Unfortunately, I know me and Jeff
good.
have not
more death. Let's talk
it.
about
more death.
People.
Yeah,
more
death.
beloved actors dying.
Yeah. Mike, you did go see the movie. I want to get your thoughts.
Okay.
Now, I've read a lot about the movie without it being too spoiled for me.
Yeah.
I know that a big part of the movie is a tribute to
Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman, thank you. Having a brain cramp.
Yep.
From what I understand, they wrote what he went through into the story. As far as him hiding the fact that he had cancer and nobody around him knew that he had cancer and so on and so forth. I want to know what you thought about the story overall. Give us your thoughts. They've introduced a brand new character, Namor.
So Namor for sure. Let's try to keep this as spoiler free as we can.
Yeah, I want to keep it spoiler free. I want your thoughts on what you thought of the movie, what you thought of Namor. I don't want to get into too many details, but yeah.
No, I can do spoiler free.
Spill the beans.
So my initial review of it was a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Walking out of the theater, I was a 7 out of 10. As you said, they do, obviously, a lot of it has to do with Chadwick Boseman. I'm very interested to see, because I've heard reports that this is a different movie than was initially written, obviously because of the Boseman situation. I would love to see what was brought over, or if this is completely different. Storyline wise, it works very well, I think. I think you can kind of tell from the trailer the general story of Namor trying to attack Wakanda. We kind of put 2 and 2 together with that. Namor is an amazing character. Namor is an amazing villain, to the point that at the end of it, I was kind of leaning more towards his side than the Wakandans.
Well, because he's not a villain.
It's not, and I think that's probably that's how you write a good villain. Is you need that little bit of, I totally see his side of it, and especially with him and his backstory, it works so well. I appreciated what they did with Boseman. It wasn't throughout the whole movie, which I was worried about. I worried it was going to be either an hour and a half trying and an hour and a half of a movie, or it was going to be every 10 minutes a reminder. It was very good sections. There definitely is a side plot that, because of the Boseman and how well Namor, they're used both throughout the movie, which gets...
Do they really?
Yeah.
You kept on saying Namor. I'm like, does he know he's saying that wrong? Or
they use both.
That's weird.
Both in the movie.
That's weird. I don't like it.
So there is a side story with other characters that happen that kind of gets bogged down because of how well Namor and the Wakanda story with Boseman kind of overshadows everything.
Say Namor again. Say Namor one more goddamn time.
Namor. Namor. There you go. It honestly depended on the charare.
I figured as much, right? Right.
And it was just, it kind of got annoying where I'm like, pick one. I've
never heard it pronounced the way you're pronouncing it. And it's like, it's a click happening in my mind every time you say it. Yeah.
I honestly didn't care which one they picked. Everybody's saying the same,
stick with
please.
One. Yeah. That's fair.
I think we can kind of tell based on, Funko has kind of released one character that's helping Wakanda. Can we talk about that?
I think we should probably avoid anything.
You mean Ironheart? Everybody knows the Ironheart's in this movie.
I didn't know how far we go with that.
Everybody knows Ironheart's in this movie. You've been talking about it for over a year now.
All right, didn't know what line we were crossing.
Say no more. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Say no more.
That's right. Yeah. Well done, Steve. Well done.
Such a good song.
Such
a good song.
Yeah.
She's kind of an offset that doesn't really get a lot of attention. I would say it's a solid movie. I would say go see it. I'd say it's a Disney Plus movie. I don't know if I would. There's nothing in it that made me go, gotta see it on the big screen.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm just that guy that goes opening night with his friends. There is one post-credit scene which is dividing the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna. I see the reason why people are divided. I personally don't care because I don't think long term it's gonna matter that much.
Mm-mm.
But I get why people are kind of.
Cool. I've seen the post-credit scene, so yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. So
I mean, who cares? It's just a nod.
Yeah.
It's really all it is, right?
Yeah. So I would say watch it on Disney Plus. I have heard that it's going to be a while until it comes out, though.
That's what I heard as well.
It's still running. It's only been over a couple of weeks, so yeah, it's good. They're gonna let it run in the theater as long as it can before they bring it over to Disney Plus, right? So
just keep punching Black Adam in that.
I like Black Adam, man. I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't mind it, but supposedly Rock's not cool with it.
No. Okay, I'm gonna diverge very, very slightly here briefly. So an article came out recently of a tweet that went back and forth where someone compared the box office of Black Adam to the box office of Black Panther 2. And Rock came out and said, guys, like, you're talking about an established IP that's been around since 2008. This is even a sequel to a $1 billion Oscar-nominated movie that came out, and our movie is the first of a group of characters that no one on the planet has ever heard of before, aside for hardcore comic books. Of course, it made more money. Not to mention the movie is a giant tribute to a beloved, passed-away actor. Are you guys out of your fucking minds? And then everybody's like, "Oh, Rock is bitter," and Rock was talking about how there's this big rivalry. Rock was talking about the rivalry within the DC universe. He was talking about the hierarchy of power changing he even kept on saying in the DC universe. But when everybody was quoting him, they kept on cutting off the in the DC universe part. Like, Rock mentions hierarchy power changing, but movie doesn't do as well. And I'm just like, media guys, I know you guys want clicks. I know that's all you're after, but like, come on, man. Of course Black Adam didn't make as much as Black Panther 2. Are you out of your minds? It was never, there's no universe where that doesn't happen. Of course.
What you mean? You expect media to report the actual truth of what's happening?
No, not in that case. No,
come on now.
It doesn't generate clicks. What are you, crazy?
Come on now.
No.
They're not fabricating stories. What are they even doing?
No, Rock mad at Marvel or Rock is happy? Like, which one's going to work?
Dude, it happened to me today because, and follow me along. So Black Adam comes out. The weekend does well. And then on Monday, Henry Cavill posts on his social media, and his exact words are something along the lines of, "This is just a taste. Hope is renewed. Lots more to come. Your patience will be rewarded." His exact words at the end, "Your patience will be rewarded." And then recently, some articles that came out and said, Man of Steel 2 in trouble, Superman Return not guaranteed, or whatever. And I'm like,
there was never any guarantee.
Well, no, but Cavill himself is saying, I'm coming back into the role. Like, Cavill's not going to post that if everything is still up in the air. He's clearly going to be saying that because something's in the works. And then today I see the article's title said, Rock bashes WB, Warner Brothers, for not bringing Cavill into the DCU, back into the DCU as Superman. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe finally something official is talking. No. They were talking about, and Rock was talking about when the old regime didn't bring him back in after Justice League 5 fucking years ago. Like, you bastards got me. You clickbait assholes got me. Hook, line, and sinker. I feel like such an idiot. And by the way, I'm 3/4 of the way through this article before I finally realize what's been done to me. It's media, man. That's how they get you.
That's exactly how they get you. That is exactly how they get you.
So mad. Anyways, sorry. So 7 out of 10. You can wait until Disney Plus, but if you go to the theaters, you're not gonna be like disappointed or anything. That's not like it's not like a Love and Thunder, right? Like, it's like,
I like Love and Thunder.
Oh, you're breaking up. Sorry, Mike.
I know.
Doesn't out here on the.
Can we just make everybody happy? It's not Eternals.
I loved Eternals.
I didn't mind Eternals.
I loved Eternals, actually. So.
I love a nap.
No.
Yeah, I didn't mind Eternals at all.
Yeah. Well, no, mind you, it's the most DC of the Marvel films, so that's probably why.
Well, it is 100%.
So that's probably why. But
it's dialogue heavy.
It is dialogue heavy. Yes, we don't want those Marvel guys thinking or having like a cerebral film where people talk and have dialogue and nuance and character build. Let's not do any of that. Where's the quips and the explosions? Damn it! Anyways. That's a whole fucking rabbit hole we could disappear down for another hour, and I don't have another hour, unfortunately. Papa's got to be at work at 4 in the morning. But
yes, well, I mean that's a good segue into the fact that we have been now on for over an hour, so maybe we should start cutting it off here. Well, we aren't gonna cut it off, but start winding down. Let's say, first of all, Mike, thanks again for coming on.
Absolutely.
Anything that you want to pitch? Anything you're a part of? Any like socials?
Yeah, pitch your socials.
This is your time.
And then any future events you've got coming up too, throw that out there as well.
Sure. So you guys can find me, search Myers Corp on pretty much every social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I've got little
Hive.
shorts on TikTok.
Hive.
For the next 6 hours.
That's right.
YouTube, I've posted a bunch of videos during the pandemic of me as Luigi and what it was like to be in a pandemic as Luigi. So go check those out. When it comes to cosplay, I'm starting to get started on 2023 and getting those plans ramping up. When it comes to conventions, I'll be probably volunteering at Toronto Comic-Con, Hamilton Comic-Con, Niagara Falls. If I'm not walking around in cosplay, I'm probably in one of the celebrity lines. So if you see me, I'm probably got this hat on. Come say hi. Yeah, just getting ready for 2023. My dog had tore her ACL a couple months ago, so she's in recovery. So I've been kind of helping my wife out a lot, trying to take care of her. So we've been taking care of her, but she's on the mend. She's getting better. So now I can come up here to my cave and start building again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure, Mike, again, thank you. Mike and I met, by the way, at Niagara Falls Comic-Con just this past summer. Yep. When on the Sunday at Niagara Falls Comic-Con with myself, Snowhawk, bunch of people, we were out as Anchorman. And I had seen Mick Foley earlier in the con, and it was just me by myself as Ron Burgundy. So I had the wig on, the suit, the mustache, the scotch, the cigarette. And as Mick walked by me with his like suitcase or whatever and a little bit of an entourage, I was like, "You stay classy, Mick Foley." And he kind of did a double take. And he said, "You stay classy." And then he walked away. But then like our whole group was walking just past Celebrity Rose. And Mike, who I'd never met before, comes running over to me, taps me on the shoulder. He's like, "Someone wants a photo." I was like, "What?" And Mike just kind of turns around, and Mick Foley gets up from his table and now I know Mike. Yeah, that's what Snowhawk is saying. Ambles over, yeah. And then when he comes over, we point to Kevin Nash, and Kevin Nash gets up and come over. And so our Anchorman group got a picture with Mick Foley and Kevin Nash in our group. And then Mick Foley was good enough to actually post that on his social media, which was crazy. I thought Ed fainted at one point. He was just so overexcited. So that's actually how Mike and I initially met, and then we've been in contact ever since. And then he was good enough to come on the podcast. So thank you so much for that, Mike. We do appreciate it. I mentioned it before, guys. December 3rd, London Comic Con is putting on their Geeky Holiday Market. It's a one-day event at Centennial Hall. I think I got that wrong in the last podcast. So it's at Centennial Hall. December 3rd, just one day only, Geeky Holiday Market. Come on out. It's a lot of local vendors that have handmade stuff there. So if you want to support local and you want to support handmade local artists, it's a great event. If you're going to be in the London or Southwestern Ontario area, come on down. The last year the tickets were only $5. I don't think it's very expensive to get in. It's at Centennial Hall. It's a great event. I'll be there. Groot will be there. He mentioned earlier. I think he's doing a Christmassy Groot thing, so that's going to be cool. There he is saying Noah will be so fun. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys out there. Otherwise, speaking of, by the way, March, I think JS, you, me, and the crew probably have to have a call pretty soon about some plans. Cause we're like a little over 3 months away. We should probably start talking about Toronto at some point in the near future.
We do.
Yeah.
The problem is like for Fan Expo, we don't freaking know.
No, I know, but we can't wait until they tell us.
We can't because then we're going to be in the same boat we were last year. Yeah. We do need to sit down. We're really winding down on our end right now. So we did the Movember shoot this weekend. We did the Christmas market thing. Inner Santa Predators. Guys, keep your eyes on the Geeks & Co. Instagram account. We got a bunch of cool pictures coming, a bunch of content coming. We got little videos and reels coming. I don't know that there's going to be much more. I'm going to maybe try to convince Rob to do another night at the Christmas market. Hopefully we can get some more cosplayers to join in because it was a fucking blast.
Hell yeah.
It was so much fun. The people there loved it. So it was really, really fun. But beyond that, yeah, I think March is really the next big event. So we do have to sit down and start planning, figuring out what we're doing. We've been talking about building some new set pieces.
Oh yeah, cool.
And expanding the booth and having different spots for people to take pictures in, and we want to offer a different experience to people that come to these shows. Other than just standing there taking pictures with cosplayers, we want them to take their pictures, right? We want them to be able to come to the booth and take cool shots with different props and
Yeah, of course.
set pieces and so on. So anyway, another thing we want to add that we need to start talking about and start building and all that stuff. Dork says I would love to join on that. We missed you last weekend. You should have stayed. I mean, I guess you were freezing cold, but it was a real blast at night. It really was, and the temperature rose a little bit at night. It started snowing, and the wind dropped, so the temperature was really nice. Listen, it was fun.
I'll get down there at some point for one of those, buddy.
You really do.
Yeah, it's a bit of a hike for me, but yeah,
it is for sure. It is for sure. But I keep telling you, man, you guys want to come into town, you can crash over here.
That's happening regardless. That's
set up some sort of a fun event to go and freak people out, and yes, sir.
Yeah. Sounds good.
I think that will be it for today, guys. Everybody who's watching online, everybody who's on Instagram, everybody who's on YouTube. There's still people on YouTube. Thanks so much for sticking with us. We really, really appreciate you guys coming along. We love having you guys here in the conversation. Although I know today we haven't really had a chance to talk a lot with the people, especially on YouTube here. But we love having you guys along. It's always a great time. I think that's going to be it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay geeky. We'll see you next week.
Guys.
Actually, I won't see you next week. Jeff will see you next week.
I will see you guys next week. Top 10 mustaches. Going to make it happen.
There you go.
Absolutely.